As many states, including Ohio, are ramping up their mail-in voting options in an attempt to help slow the spread of COVID-19, there's a lot of political rhetoric surrounding it.
Yeah, claims of potential voter fraud and voter suppression. We are getting a lot of questions from you about it, too. So tonight, News 5's Emily Hamilton goes in depth to sort out the debate around voting by mail.
Here in Ohio, mail-in voting has been a popular choice for more than 20 years. But how could a strain on the U.S. Postal Service affect the November election? And what's the difference between mail-in voting and absentee voting, if any? While the semantics vary state to state, the terms mail-in voting versus absentee voting and even universal vote by mail are causing major confusion.
One time you had to prove that you were going to be out of town. Now anybody can vote by mail for any reason at all in Ohio.
Voting advocacy experts say here in Ohio, absentee and mail-in voting are the same thing.
The place where it still overlaps is online. The Secretary of State's website calls it absentee voting. If you go to the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections website, they call it vote by mail, but it's the same thing.
Cuyahoga County Executive Armand Budish is calling President Trump's latest comments about the U.S. Postal Service dangerous and irresponsible.
There really isn't any evidence that mail-in voting leads to voter fraud.
But we caught up with a postal worker of 36 years who says the USPS is struggling to keep up.
Mail backing up, low workforce, people overworking, working long hours.
And says for fair and accurate election results come November, something's gotta give.
There's been a wrench, I'm gonna say, thrown into the Postal Service processing of the mail. So that wrench has to come out for the machine to work right.
If you choose to vote by mail in Ohio, experts recommend submitting your ballot at least a week before Election Day.
We don't want anything to prohibit that or get in the way of people exercising their right.
Ohio voters can request mail-in ballots now until October 31st. We have more voting information for you on our News 5 app. Just look for the Election 2020 tab. Emily Hamilton, News 5.
And here's a quick look at some of the voting deadlines in Ohio you need to be aware of. The deadline to register to vote is Monday, October 5th. Absentee voting begins October 6th and runs until November 2nd. But as Emily just told us, you have to request a mail-in ballot by October 31st. And Election Day is Tuesday, November 3rd.
By the way, the Postal Service also planning a temporary price hike this year due to the high demand for online items. Package shipments will see a rate increase of up to $1.50 from October 18th until December 27th.
Some good news here tonight on the coronavirus in Ohio. The state is reporting fewer than 1,000 new cases of COVID-19. 775 today, 83 more patients were hospitalized, and 6 more people have died. And 7-day positivity rates for the coronavirus tests in Ohio is now at 4.6%. That's the lowest we've seen in nearly 2 months.
Kent State just days away from welcoming students back to campus. Wednesday will be the first of 5 move-in days there, Katie.
Each student has been assigned a designated move-in time. The university is using this staggered approach to help ensure that students have a safer environment as they move into their residence halls. Classrooms have also been modified to account for social distancing. The first classes start at Kent State on August 27th.
Breaking news just in tonight, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill announcing it will convert to virtual classes after reporting 135 new COVID-19 cases and 4 clusters within a week of starting classes for fall semester. It is an outcome many feared as the university reopened its campus. And this comes as the University of Notre Dame is also experiencing a spike in coronavirus cases. Nearly 12,000 students were tested before being allowed on campus for the fall semester. Less than 2 weeks ago, 33 students tested positive for a positivity rate of less than 0.5%. Well, 2 weeks later, the positivity rate among students and staff, more than 8%. A university spokesman says they believe they can still get it under control without having to cancel classes and sending students home.
New fallout tonight from the decision by those 2 Indians players to violate Major League Baseball's coronavirus protocol. A new report says it's created a possible rift between players. Let's bring in News 5 Sports anchor Derek Forrest joining us now with more on this. And Derek, one player reportedly even threatening to leave the team.
Yeah, Katie, the one player named in the ESPN report was veteran pitcher Oliver Perez, who said he would have opted out if Mike Clevenger and Zach Plesac returned to the team while they were in Detroit. And while we haven't heard from Perez himself, we have heard from others who have expressed frustration with the two.
They hurt us bad. They lied to us. They sat here in front of you guys and publicly said things that they didn't follow through on. And it's going to be up to them. The term that I continue to hear, and excuse my language, is grown-ass man, right? So those grown-ass men can sit here and tell you guys what happened and tell you guys what they're going to do to fix it. And I don't need to do that for them.
Now, of course, that was about a week ago when pitcher Adam Plutko spoke to the media after the weekend in Chicago. Clearly, the front office responded to both the actions of Clevenger and Plesac, but also the request of the players as the two were sent down to the alternative site in Lake County. And we'll continue to keep an eye on their status. But coming up at 6 p.m., we're talking Browns and why running back Nick Chubb had to leave practice early. Live from the newsroom, Derek Forrest, News 5.
Still talking sports. Within the last 2 hours, the SEC announced the first week of its fall football schedule. The SEC will begin play at the end of September. We are expecting the full schedule to be released in about 2 hours. And the SEC schedule release comes a week after the Big Ten and Pac-12 conferences decided to cancel their fall seasons. But now there's a petition started by Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields to reinstate the Big Ten football season. Now, it's racked up nearly 250,000 signatures in less than 24 hours. He says he started that We Want to Play petition because players should be able to make their own choice about playing this season.
All right, thunderstorms on the radar now. The big question, will they prevent you from taking your evening stroll? Find out coming up.
Plus, with kids heading back to school, there is one essential item that is flying off the shelves, and it can't be replaced quick enough. That story and much more. News 5 at 5. Back after this.
Tonight, we're learning more about the potential impacts of a saliva test on the pandemic. The FDA just granted emergency for the test, which researchers say may be available within a few weeks. NBA players in the Orlando bubble already using it. One public health expert talking about the benefits of this test in comparison to the traditional nasal swab.
It doesn't need the same reagents and swabs that have been the rate limiting step to being able to create testing at scale in this country. It really could be a game changer if we can deploy it.
Officials say the test can produce results in around 3 hours. Now, it's expected to cost about $10 per sample.
And the pandemic could impact the development of unborn babies. Harvard doctors say the body releases all kinds of hormones throughout the body in times of extreme stress. And some of those hormones, they say, can be passed on to the developing fetus and impact parts of the brain used for learning and memory. Doctors asked 35 pregnant women about their current stress levels during the pandemic. More than half say they were experiencing high levels of stress or anxiety, and 35% say they felt depressed. Stress caused by dealing with insurance companies has a lot of doctors perhaps considering a new career. A new survey of 600 doctors found 48% thought about a new career. 2/3 of the doctors in this survey said they would not encourage someone to pursue a medical career. Doctors in this study also said problems with insurance companies and the red tape surrounding care has really impacted patients' lives. 87% of doctors say they believe delays in care made patients' conditions worse, and 83% they believe will suffer prolonged pain because of it.
You know, flu season is near, and with the pandemic, two of the nation's largest drugstores want to give customers peace of mind. Walgreens and CVS announced they are increasing safety precautions. Both drugstores will screen patients for COVID-19, which includes a temperature check. Pharmacists at CVS will also be required to wear face shields while giving that vaccine. Both drugstores expect to give more than double the number of flu shots this year, which, by the way, the CDC recommends you get by October. The Stark Area Regional Transit Authority beefing up its service.
It has a new phone system that lets riders confirm or cancel ProLine trips 24/7. News 5's John Rutter explains how this will be changing things for riders moving forward.
The Stark Area Regional Transit Authority's new Go Line Express Check will allow riders to make and cancel trips 24 hours a day. It's an automated system that's more convenient for riders, but also frees up SARTA staff from a backlog of calls every morning. ProLine is SARTA's point-to-point mobility service for anyone with a disability in Stark County. It allows you to schedule and cancel trips in real time. The new feature is a piece of an improved scheduling system that SARTA rolled out last year, but the COVID-19 pandemic forced a delay in some of the services. Go Line Express Check will eliminate long wait times that had become a speed bump for riders.
We've heard people being on hold for up to 30 minutes or even longer than that. So this is really going to help people out, not have to wait on those trips. And, you know, these trips are going to the doctor, they're going to dialysis. These are the kind of trips that, you know, they're most fragile in our community. So we just want to try to make their trip and their interaction with us as possible.
You will need a ProLine client number as well as a password to schedule your ride. For more information and that number, you can visit our News 5 app. Reporting for News 5, I'm John Rutter.
You know, Katie, thank you for being a friend.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
I couldn't hold it in.
Wait,
the iconic Golden Girls house just sold for more than the asking price.
I was trying to remember some other words there. The modest mid-century home was used as the first season backdrop for the popular 80s era sitcom that, of course, starred the one and only Betty White. The Los Angeles home was originally listed for just less than $3 million. Frank, only on the market for a couple weeks. This baby sold for $4 million, so $1 million over asking. We don't know who bought it, but
you kept your name out of that, didn't you? You didn't want anybody to know you bought that.
Oh my goodness, what are the other words in that? Thank you for being a friend.
Travel down a road and back again. It's only because I Googled.
Come on, Mark, you know it.
Your heart is true, you're a pal and a confidant.
That's
Name
what it
the
is.
singer of that song.
Ooh, next level.
Come on, it's Andrew Gold. There
Right,
you go.
it was on the
Andrew
tip of my
Gold,
tongue.
A very, very popular 80s tune. By the way, that house was supposed to be in Miami. What happened? They moved it to LA, or they just faked us out all those years?
They hit you with the
okey-doke.
okey-doke.
Fake out. All right, that's right. Let's show you what's going on outside right now. We do have sunshine coming out, mixing with some scattered clouds. And again, that's warming our temps up. Cleveland, remember, last hour was 71. We jumped thanks to the sunshine to 76. Akron, Canton, 73. They're beginning to see some sunshine in Summit County as well. Lorraine, 79. Mansfield, 81. All because the clouds have moved and the sun has come out. Now, there are still a couple of showers around with some rumbles of thunder. Not many here. Notice the majority of the activity, Stark County, Tuscarawas County, Carroll County, back into southern Wayne County and northern Holmes County there. So there we have it. Do we have any more coming our way? We do have some showers up here with some rumbles of thunder near this secondary trough that's going to swing by during the evening. Couple of showers there. I can't totally remove the threat for rain until closer to 9, 10 o'clock tonight. Could be an isolated shower during the evening hours. Temps, here we go, 76 Cleveland, 80 Pittsburgh, 84 in Indianapolis, 83 Chicago. A lot of sunshine coming out here. Should be a pretty decent sunset for most of you. Current temps in, look at Elyria, up to 79 degrees. Fremont, 81. Thanks to the sunshine coming out. Where there's still rain and clouds around, you're cooler. Lower and middle 70s there. But everyone should see temps bump up at least a few clicks before it goes down in the next couple of hours. Planning your evening, what do you want to do? Take a little run? Why not? 76 degrees at 6 p.m., 8 p.m. 75, 10 p.m. you're at 70 degrees. We'll bottom out near 60 for Cleveland, but many inland areas you're going to be in the lower and middle 50s, maybe even a couple of upper 40s, so it's going to cool down. Boaters, waves going 1 to 3 feet through the evening hours. 59 overnight, comfortable. A brief shower during the evening hours, and we should dry out after midnight. 75 tomorrow. There's 73 Wednesday. That's very fall-like here. And then we're back into the 80s for your weekend. We'll be back.
If you're looking to buy a new laptop for the school year, you better do it now, because laptop maker Acer warning that it does not have enough Chromebooks to support virtual classrooms. Right now, several Chromebooks under $400 sold out on Best Buy's website. Big reason for the shortfall that we're talking about: supply chain issues, from getting individual parts to shipping.
Speaking of supply chain issues, if pizza's on the dinner menu tonight, you might be paying more for one of the most popular toppings, All across the country, pizza shops say they are paying significantly more for pepperoni. Bloomberg says they believe there are two reasons why this is happening. First, pork processors have had fewer workers in their plants during the pandemic. Second, more people are just eating pizza. During the pandemic, the demand for pizza has skyrocketed, and pepperoni is always a popular choice. So far, the impact is being felt primarily by the smaller pizza shops. Well, from salty to sweet, another reason tonight to eat chocolate at least once a week.
You like chocolate there, Katie? You a big fan?
Yes, please. Once a week? Who does that?
Once a week. It could actually help your heart. Doctors at Baylor studied more than 330,000 people over the course of 50 years. They found eating chocolate at least once a week helped protect blood vessels and improve blood pressure. Now, people who ate the treat at least once a week showed at least an 8% lower risk of developing heart disease. Doctors say chocolate contains nutrients that help reduce inflammation and promote good cholesterol. So there you go. Coming up, virtual reality, the Democratic National Convention kicks off tonight. The speech being made from Ohio.
News 5 at 5 continues now.
Day one of the Democratic National Convention, a virtual convention broadcast across the U.S. instead of in that host city of Milwaukee.
Tonight's speakers include Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders and former Ohio Republican Governor John Kasich. News 5's John Kasich joining us live. And John, the former governor doing something for the Democrats he wouldn't even do for his own party 4 years ago.
Yes, speak. 4 years ago, Governor Kasich wrote in the name of John McCain at the polling booth rather than vote for Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton. But tonight he will take the stage at the Democratic National Convention to speak on behalf of former Vice President Joe Biden.
We all sit around and talk about how we like bipartisanship until we see it, and then we don't like it so much.
John Kasich has always been a politician who marches to the beat of his own drummer, often in his words, down a lonely road. In 2016, Kasich skipped the Republican National Convention over his refusal to endorse Donald Trump, telling me at the time it would have been hypocritical of him to attend.
If I'm going to show up at the convention and I'm not going to be saying all these great things about the host, then I think it's inappropriate for me to kind of go in there.
In speaking at the Democratic National Convention tonight on behalf of Joe Biden, Kasich is hoping it sends a message about putting country over politics.
Everything in life doesn't revolve around your political party, that it's okay to take off a partisan hat if you think it's for the good of the country.
His speech will be from Ohio, not Milwaukee, as this will be the first ever virtual convention for the Democrats. 4 years ago, Congresswoman Marcia Fudge was the convention's chair in Philadelphia. She tells me they'll figure this out as they go along.
It's going to be different, John. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like.
Gone are the breakfasts where the Ohio delegates get together to hear from the surrogates, while those thinking about future runs work the tables and lay the groundwork.
We're going to have some individual state activities, some regional activities, and so there'll still be groups of us together.
Senator Sherrod Brown remembers his first convention in 1976.
I was a first-term state legislator. I hitchhiked to New York. Remember Carter being nominated. Remember the excitement of going onto the convention floor and looking around at all these people.
Brown says he feels in this virtual world for those who are missing out on those memories.
I'm sorry for the disappointment for thousands of people around the country that way, whether a reporter or a delegate or an activist.
And the bulk of tonight's festivities get underway at 9 p.m. ABC's coverage picks up at 10 p.m. and Kasich expects his speech to be right around the beginning of that 10 o'clock hour.
Be interesting to hear what he has to say. So, John, while Governor Kasich is speaking, Senator Sherrod Brown, who you talked to in that piece, not scheduled to speak. He's prominent in the party. Is he seeing this as a slight?
It's a very interesting dynamic there, isn't it? He does not. He said when he ran 2 years ago for his Senate seat, he knew he had to convert 1 out of 7 Trump voters to vote for him in order to win. And he says Biden's facing the same thing, and he thinks that Kasich might be able to help in that area, even though he doesn't agree with Kasich on most issues. He thinks him speaking tonight could help the Biden-Harris ticket.
All right, interesting stuff. John Kasich, thank you so much. All right, taking you live now to Oshkosh, Wisconsin. The president is speaking there after kicking off a week-long campaign tour. He just visited Mankato, Minnesota as well. On Thursday, the president will visit Scranton, Pennsylvania. That sounds familiar. Yeah, that's where Biden was born. And it's the same day Biden plans to give his acceptance speech for the Democratic Party's nomination for president. Now, meantime, President Trump will also be visiting Yuma, Arizona tomorrow, where he's expected to talk about immigration. As for the Republican National Convention, President Trump recently telling the New York Post he will be accepting the nomination from his party at the White House.
A former Browns player making history, becoming the NFL's first black team president. The Washington football team hired Jason Wright to lead the team's business divisions, including sales, marketing, operations, and finance.
So for me, it's personal, an opportunity to bring together my two worlds in a really unique way at a really unique time. And the fact that I happen to be black and the most qualified person for this is a boost.
Wright spent most of his 7-year career with the Browns.
There will soon be a new way to get around the city of Akron and the University of Akron campus. Both the city and the university have partnered up with the company Spin to bring electric scooter rentals to the area. The scooters will first be available to rent on campus and then later in the downtown area. And you'll be able to rent one as soon as next week. The University of Akron says this will be just another transportation choice for students and faculty to get across campus. Some Northeast Ohio beaches are now more accessible thanks to these. Check this out. How cool is this? All-terrain beach wheelchairs. They're free to use at both Huntington and Edgewater Beach. And they're also available at Euclid Beach Park on the weekends. The wheelchairs have 2 large balloon wheels with 360-degree coasters. Beachgoers who would like to use one of these all-terrain wheelchairs can just ask the lifeguard on duty. How great is that? So everybody can get out there and enjoy the beach. Right now, food insecurity rates among children are 5.5 times higher than they were in 2018.
Yeah, to help change that, though, the Greater Cleveland Food Bank joining 1,300 organizations urging Congress to increase the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program by 15%. More than 1.5 million Ohioans having filed for unemployment since March, and Food Bank is actually seeing an increase in families coming to their doors, many for the first time. But for every 1 meal that is provided by food banks, SNAP provides 9. The food bank says SNAP is a critical part of the food safety net.
People often, if they turn on the news, they see the long lines, the miles long lines of folks waiting for food from food banks across the country. But what people don't see is that there are millions of Americans going to the grocery store every day using their SNAP benefits.
Hunger relief groups, they also want Congress to extend the pandemic EBT program. It actually helps families buy groceries when school is not in session.
Hey, some good news here. If you missed the Asian Lantern Festival, no worries, it's sticking around for a while longer. The Cleveland Metro Park Zoo says it's extending the display until September 20th. That's a month longer than the original end date. The extension also covers both the walkthrough experience and the drive-through option that they just added. Hey, who's hungry? Is your tummy growling yet? Well, if you haven't eaten dinner just yet, how about a burger?
Why not? And we're asking because of this right here. Cleveland's Burger Week is back. It kicked off today and runs through Sunday. Dozens of local restaurants offering burgers for $6, but make sure you get a burger passport with your order. If you collect 5 stamps from 5 different spots, you can enter to win a new grill and have all of the information for you that you're going to need to win that grill. All the restaurants participating, that's on our News 5 app. Coming up, a cold case breakthrough, the bombshell, new developments, and the unsolved murder of the hip-hop legend, DJ Jam Master Jay of Run DMC. We'll be right back.
All right, in my world of weather, it's all about you and your world, and I get so many great pictures of thunderstorms, especially as they're rolling in off the lake. And here's one from Kevin. This is a shelf cloud right here, and a shelf cloud tells me, when I see that as a meteorologist, that we've got some straight line winds with this thunderstorm. Now, the taller the shelf cloud, the higher the winds generally, all right? So this one probably did not produce severe weather, maybe 30, 40 mile an hour wind gusts. But if this thing were double that size, it would most likely have been warned for a severe thunderstorm. Okay, another look here. Beautiful shelf cloud of a storm rolling in. This is Spin Master 5.8, Oasis Marina, Port Lorraine. And another one of over the Cleveland skyline, you can see the rain shield coming in off of Lake Erie into downtown. This little rain shaft here and here, showers rumbling through. Keep sending me your pics. You tweet them and then you tag me in your tweet at Mark J. Weather. We'll be back.
New tonight, officials arresting and charging 2 men in the unsolved murder of Run DMC's Jam Master Jay. A U.S. attorney out of New York says Carl Jordan Jr. and Ronald Washington have been charged with murder. The pioneering DJ of the 80s hip-hop group, whose real name was Jason Mizell, was shot and killed at a recording studio in New York City back in 2002. He was 37 years old. Both suspects being arraigned this week. The Baltimore community cleaning up the site of a deadly gas explosion. That blast killed 2 people, hurt 7 others. More than 400 people showed up to the neighborhood yesterday to clear debris from the scene, where 3 row homes were leveled. You see the damage right there. Last week's explosion trapped people in that rubble. The explosion's cause still being investigated. Authorities have said they do believe natural gas played a role.
Travelers are slowly returning to the air, but some people are still hesitant to fly because of the pandemic. So United Airlines has teamed up with the Cleveland Clinic and Clorox to help assure their passengers that flying is safe. They've instituted touchless check-in and boarding procedures. They say they scrub every hard surface in the cabin and disinfect it with electrostatically for each flight. In the cabin, they say they use UV light to disinfect. How do they do that? Well, they say they hold that light over every area for 20 seconds.
Overhead panels, forward console, and the center pedestal.
Food services has also changed. Passengers are getting sealed bags containing a bottle of water, pretzels, and biscotti.